What is up, guys? It's me, Zachary, and welcome to day 49 of the 2017-2018 NBA season. We got a few things to talk about today, so let's not waste any time. Let's just get into everything that did go down yesterday. Lego. What's the record for most consecutive games with ejections? Like, does anyone know? Are the Warriors close to breaking it? For a team that has already shattered record after record, maybe now they have their eyes set on this one, because this now makes it 3 games in a row that a player for the Warriors has been ejected. And I think there have been a total of 5 players ejected just over the past week alone in the NBA. It's been crazy. The Warriors taking on the Pelicans last night. First half, things weren't looking too good for Golden State. Jrue Holiday was on fire and Rajon Rondo was looking like a magician with the ball in his hands. Warriors found themselves down 20 at halftime. But that lead didn't stay around for too long. As soon as the second half started, the lead evaporated and the Warriors came away with the 125-115 win. A couple of things happened in this game. First off, DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Durant were both ejected with a minute left to go in the fourth quarter. It started off as just a verbal exchange. KD was getting hyped up and being held back by Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala. Cousins was just standing there and talking. Ref then decides to toss both of them out the game, and as they were leaving, things looked like they were going to escalate even more until the refs and the other players stepped in between DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Durant. And KD said after the game kind of what Lonzo said earlier in the season, that it's the NBA and no one's going to throw a punch.
Nobody on the floor is going to fight. Nobody in the NBA is going to throw no punches. We're just talking. We're just getting into it. It's a heated matchup. It's a heated conversation. And we said we had the same move going. If it escalates, we got teammates and so many people that can get in between us and prevent us from doing anything stupid. Because we grown, man, we don't want to get into nothing.
Funny enough, though, is that he said no one would throw a punch, but it's not like they wouldn't throw a punch. It's more like they can't. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins looked like he was ready to throw some punches last night for sure. But the thing is, refs, teammates, coaches all step in before it gets to that point where punches can be thrown. But other than that, there were also reports that 2 of them had to be separated again in the hallways after they were kicked out of the game. So these 2 were really trying to go at it last night. And this isn't the first time the 2 of them have been involved in a scuffle like this. It happened a few years ago back when KD was still with OKC and Boogie was still with the Kings. So that happened, but then the worst news for the Warriors yesterday is that right after Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins were ejected, Stephen Curry also left the game. As he was closing out on Etuan Moore, he completely rolled his right ankle and came up hobbling. The Warriors already ran MRIs and said there's no serious damage, and the fact that he was able to take himself back to the locker room is a good sign, and they say he just has an ankle sprain. He'll probably be out for a couple of games, and like I said, it's nothing too serious. But now with Curry most likely out for a couple of games, Kevin Durant and the rest of the Warriors are going to have to chill out a little bit with all this getting ejected from the games. They can win without Stephen Curry or Kevin Durant, but if Kevin Durant gets ejected again while Curry is out, it might be a different story. So they gotta chill out with this unless they really are just trying to chase another record for most consecutive ejections. Mavericks, Knicks, Hornets, Clippers, Pistons, Nets, Hornets, Sixers, Heat, Hawks, Grizzlies, and now the Bulls. That is the list of the teams that the Cleveland Cavaliers have played over the course of this 12-game winning streak. Out of those teams, only the Pistons and the Sixers have winning records. Maybe the Knicks had a winning record back then too, but still, you get the picture. They haven't had to play many challenging teams, which has some people wondering if this winning streak they're on actually means anything and saying that it's overrated, which is kind of fair to say and kind of fair to ask. Most of the teams that were listed, the Cavs should have no business losing a single game to, but here is my take on it. Yes, you can say this winning streak is a tad bit overrated in the grand scheme of things. A 10, 15, or 20 game winning streak in the regular season doesn't mean that much for Cleveland. It puts them closer to being the #1 seed in the East, but not even that matters too much. The most important thing would be if the winning streak were to cause them to finish the season with a better record than whatever team comes out of the Western Conference, so they can have home court advantage in the finals. But even then, home court advantage is pretty overrated. It doesn't mean that much once you get deeper into the postseason. So yeah, while it's cool if you're a Cavs fan to say your team is on a 12-game winning streak, it really doesn't mean that much. That being said though, What else do we want from the Cavs? You can't knock or discredit them for beating teams that they are supposed to beat, when earlier in the season we were bashing on them for losing to the Atlanta Hawks. And now that they're winning, we try and discredit them for beating the Hawks and the Bulls and all of the other teams that they should be beating. People are saying, let's see if they can beat the Spurs or the Celtics or the Warriors or the Rockets. Then we'll know if this team is really good. Like, people are acting like this team still has something to prove in the regular season. They don't. Everyone already knows that the Cavs are one of the best teams in the NBA and are heavy favorites to reach the finals once again. Even if they did go up against one of the better teams in the NBA right now and they lost, what does that mean? Absolutely nothing. They would still be the favorites to reach the NBA finals for the 4th straight year in the Eastern Conference. I guess what some people want to see from this is just how much of a threat does it mean they are to the Golden State Warriors, because that's the only legit question that surrounds the Cavs right now. Even with this new and improved roster, do they stand a chance against the Warriors? But even though that is a good question, nothing that happens in the regular season will give us a legitimate answer to that question. The Cavs could only lose 5 more games from here on out in the regular season for all I care, and we still won't know the answer to how much of a fight they can put up in a 7-game series against the Warriors until tip-off of the 2018 NBA Finals. If anyone in the East is going to have anything to say about the Cavs reaching the finals for the 4th straight time in the East this year, it will be the Boston Celtics. I've said this many times though, but maybe if they had Gordon Hayward, I would give them a bit of a chance, but I'm sorry. Celtics are a great team, but I just can't see LeBron James allowing himself to lose to Kyrie Irving yet. Look, if Kyrie Irving left LeBron and then beat him in the playoffs with this new team, it is a wrap for LeBron James' legacy. I don't think anything is already done or anything else he could possibly do could tarnish his legacy as much as losing to Kyrie Irving in the NBA playoffs right now. That's just why I can't see the Celtics beating the Cavs this year. Maybe one year though, especially when Jason Tatum gets even better. He's already good right now, and I think if he was drafted to a regular bad NBA lottery team, that he'd be putting up some ridiculous numbers. But he got drafted to a really good team in the Boston Celtics, and they're not just gonna put the ball in his hands all that much. Still though, he does make the most out of the touches that he does get. He had 17 points last night on 5 of 6 shooting from the field, 4 of 5 from deep, basically a third into the season, and he's still shooting over 50% from the field and 50% from beyond the arc. It's very rare that we ever see a rookie that is this efficient. Kyrie Irving and Al Horford are still the central hubs of the Celtics offense though, especially Al Horford, as almost everything runs through him. He had 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists last night, and while Irving had to do a lot of scoring to counter Giannis and his 40 points that he had for the Bucks, Irving had 32, and the Celtics win 111-100. Speaking of a lot of scoring though, that is exactly what you are going to get from Devin Booker. Following up his 38 points that he had in a losing effort against Boston Celtics on Saturday, Booker realized that in order to give the Suns team a win, he's going to have to score a lot more than just a measly 38 points. So he went ahead and dropped a smooth 56 on Philly's head as Phoenix gets the 115-101 win over the Sixers. This guy Booker though was just on fire last night, and of course he knew it too. Everyone knew it. Man took one of the deepest, most disrespectful threes last night and knew it was going in even before he shot it. One of the scariest things about going up against a team that's on a losing streak like the Grizzlies have been is knowing that the streak has to end at some point, and you do not want it to end against you. I know Wolves fans were watching this game praying their team wouldn't be the team to give Memphis their first win in like over a month. Jimmy Butler was fighting for that not to happen last night, but still, despite his 30 points, it did. Memphis snapped their losing streak, 95-92. Marc Gasol absolutely clamped up Karl Anthony Towns down low in this game. Towns had one of his most ineffective games of his career last night, 7 points and 11 rebounds in 38 minutes of play, while Gasol had 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. San Antonio said that they were actually considering activating Kawhi Leonard last night so he could play against the Pistons, but decided against it at the last minute so he could literally come back any game now. But the Spurs didn't even need him last night to grind out the 96-93 win over Detroit. Game went down to the wire. Looked like Detroit was going to have a shot to win it at the buzzer after Rudy Gay bricked a 3 at the top of the key with like 5 seconds to go as the shot clock expired, but the refs whistled Tobias Harris for a rebounding loose ball foul, right before time expired on the shot clock, sending Aldridge to the free throw line where he drilled both free throws to put the Spurs up 3. Detroit had a chance to tie it at the buzzer, but Harris couldn't get off a clean look at the rim. Now, this is more or less how I pictured the Wizards to play when John Wall first went down. I thought they would be getting blown out left and right, but they actually been putting up a fight. Until last night, that is. Rudy Gobert returned for Utah last night and didn't even have to play that much because this game was over at halftime. The Jazz absolutely throttled the Wizards 116-69. Dang. Donovan Mitchell followed up his career high 41 points with another good game, scoring 21 points on 8 of 13 shooting, while Alec Burks has also been pure flames off the bench these past 3 games as he scored 27. And the Jazz are now on a 6-game winning streak. Short-handed, I'm playing on a back-to-back on the road. This is an auto loss for New York, and you could tell that it was going to be for them from the very start. The Knicks put Joakim Noah in the game. That's pretty much the equivalent of waving the white flag in the NBA these days. Indiana cruised to the 115-97 win in this one behind Thaddeus Young and his 20 points. Kemba Walker returned for the Hornets after missing his last 2 games, and you couldn't even really tell he was ever gone because he picked up right where he left off. Kemba Walker, man, lit up Orlando for 29 points last night, including a perfect 14 of 14 from the free throw line. Even though his outside shot hasn't been able to fall so far this year, he's still finding ways to get it done. And his outside shot will have to start dropping at some time. Speaking of dropping things though, Dwight Howard dropped Nikola Vucevic last night. Dwight Howard has actually been taking guys off the dribble and dunking on them again this year, so that's cool to see. The Mavericks got another win last night, but if they want to try and get that #1 pick in the draft, then they're gonna have to chill out with all this winning. They already have 7 wins, and who knows if a team like Atlanta or Chicago will be able to get more than that right now. 122-105 over the Nuggets last night. Barnes and Dennis Smith Jr. both played well for Dallas though. Barnes with 22 and DSJ with 20. That man Nerlens Noel though, still can't believe that he wanted a max contract over the offseason. He should have just taken whatever the Mavericks offered him because he's about to get close to nothing at all at this rate. The game that you have all been waiting for. Nets won 110-90. The end. That wraps up all the action from last night though. You guys can go vote for the player of the day by going to the poll that I have up on my channel. Just remember the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday you guys selected Jimmy Butler and his 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists as the player of the day. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe to the channel for more daily NBA news and highlights. But until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team ICC, and I'm out of here. Peace!